when I went in-house and was sort of stepped into corporate culture, that's when all of a sudden I had to use a last name all the time. Okay, I'm Pash. I'm a designer. Is this really loud? I have kind of a loud speaking voice. I just hope that this isn't blowing you guys out. Let's roll. This is Hollywood. Tinseltown, La La Land, the Magic Store. It's a place where some of the most brilliant creative people in the world come to do their life's work. And a star is born almost every single day. And this is the Hollywood sign. See? I just learned, by the way, this morning, this thing has a laser pointer on it, so I'm going to make good use of this. That's the Hollywood sign, right? Majestic in its splendor, standing sentinel over all of this, right? And the world's elite come from far and wide to pay its respect with selfie sticks. It's beautiful, isn't it? The Hollywood sign? But I want to take you guys behind the Hollywood sign and give you a little bit of insight as to what a designer's life is like in this crazy entertainment industry. So, this is the back of the Hollywood sign. Okay, so that's not actually exactly what the back of the Hollywood sign looks like. Unlike much of Hollywood, the back of the Hollywood sign is really clean. But for the purposes of this presentation, I decided to adorn it, with my imagination and the incredible skill of a good friend of mine, Man One, who's a legendary street artist. So we've put 10 phrases that are sort of Hollywood cliches up here on the back of the Hollywood sign. And I'll zoom in on them so that you guys can see them better, because they're probably a little bit hard to read from where you are. So for each of these things, it's going to be a little bit of a jumping off point and just inspiration for something that I want to be able to speak about that resonates for this industry. So we'll start with this one right here. There's no business like show business. A lot of these, because they're sort of cliches, will almost be true or false, sort of, in a way, This one, I have to say, is like 100% true, because I really believe this statement. And almost everything I talk about today when I'm up here speaking about this industry really is in support of this one particular phrase right here. But to start with, I think I want to focus on the single operative word in this phrase. Anybody know what it is? Can anyone guess? That's right, it's business. Because make no mistake, despite all the what was it referred to earlier, the glitz and the glam, the entertainment industry is a business. It is a big business, by the way. It's like a $700 billion business this year. Yeah, that's pretty big. For those of you keeping score, that is like 5% of the gross domestic product of this country, okay? About a 20th of the US economy. And that's in a single year, right? Pretty big. It's a big industry. And it is a big industry here in Los Angeles. It's one of Los Angeles' largest industries. It's estimated that 1 out of every 6 people in LA works in the creative industry. So that's where we're starting. All right. The second one I'm going to zoom in on here is the Magic Store. You heard me just use that phrase a second ago when describing this industry, right? Lots of terms used to describe Hollywood. But I love this one, the Magic Store. And people refer to Hollywood as the Magic Store for a lot of different reasons, right? There's sort of the magic of filmmaking where they're bringing new worlds to life for us. There's that magic of dreams becoming reality, or a completely unknown person rocketing to success with like overnight stardom. But I like using this phrase to describe to me what is one of the most unique and special attributes of this business. And that is that it is the confluence of so many different kinds of artists all coming together. We're all designers, right? And designers work in this industry. A lot of them do. I'll speak more to that in a second. But the thing that's amazing about the entertainment industry is there are so many people who are contributing to the same product that you're ultimately working on, right? With their own respective skills. And so many of them are artists. You have writers, you have directors, you have editors, you have architects and interior decorators, who in this business are called set designers, right? You have fashion design people that they're in wardrobe or in the costume teams, right? You have composers, you have musicians, you have photographers, you have painters, you have sculptors, you have animators. And of course, you have performers, actors and actresses and dancers and other kinds of performers. All of these people that are from so many different areas and disciplines of art in general and other kinds of creativity are all working on it, on the same projects that you are. So your work as a designer is really being funneled in with all these other people's work, and to me, that's something that's kind of magical. I like that. See this right here? This is a magic story. Here we go. All right, go to our next one. What I really want to do is direct. What I really want to do is direct. There's another Hollywood cliche. Now, this is usually attributed to a performer, sort of a prima donna, high-maintenance type performer, right? And they say something like, well, I'm an actor currently, but what I really want to do is direct, right? It's sort of a way for actors to say something demeaning about other actors. I like this phrase, though, because in a way, it applies really universally, but to designers as well. I mean, who doesn't want to direct? Think about it. For us as designers, how many of you know an early career designer, maybe even like a year out of school, that has aspirations like right now to be an art director or creative director? They may already even have it on their resume, right? I see that a lot. And this is, by the way, no disrespect to the early career designers in the room. We were the same, the exact same. Nothing has changed. I was a creative director when I was 23. I don't think I really understood what the term really meant at that point, but yeah, who doesn't want to direct? What I want to talk about, though, in relation to this quote is, you know, a second ago I was talking about how so many different kinds of artists are all working together in this industry. Well, there's also just a ton of different kinds of designers as well. So honestly, no matter what your specialty is or what discipline of design you're working in, you're probably going to find it in this industry. Here's a quick example of just some of the things and people that I've come into contact with in terms of the work that's getting done by designers in this industry. It is a huge field, right? A huge business. There's a lot of room for designers in there. The other thing to me is that it's really worth noting that a lot of designers who come into this field come in with one area of specialty and working on one kind of thing, but then wind up finding something else and actually pivoting within the industry to a different kind of design and end up doing something that's different than what they thought they'd be doing when they started out. I guess that's how most of our careers have gone anyway, right? But just interesting, something worth pointing out. All right, now I'm going to zoom in on this one. There are no small parts. You guys heard this phrase before? There's a second half to this. What is it? There are no small parts, only small actors. That's right. So that means that there's other people that have an 11-year-old in the crowd, because this clearly is a phrase that was devised to try to use a teachable moment and give some tough love to your 11-year-old who is completely disgruntled because they got a part in a school play and they only have one line, right? No, I thought it was worth talking about here because the interesting thing about the entertainment industry, and I want to shift and talk a little bit about working in-house in the entertainment industry now, is just how complex of an operational structure you are a part of, right? Every in-house setting that designers work in the entertainment industry is going to be at some kind of big company that's making entertainment, right? That seems kind of obvious. But this means that you could be working at a studio, right? A big studio. It could be a movie studio, a television studio, a music studio, right? You could be working at a network. You could be working at a streaming service. You could be working at a large production company. You could be working at a gaming company. You could be working at a record label. There's a lot of people in the entertainment industry. I'm mostly talking about Hollywood, like film and television, because that's where my experience has been for the last decade or so, my focus. But in each of these places, you're going to be on a design team, right, in an in-house setting at some big company like this. And how those teams are structured is often different, even when you're talking like kind of almost comparing apples to apples. At television networks, for example, it's amazing to me, even the big broadcast networks, and I worked at one of those, how much the teams are different. One place that was at our network, as a quick example, I worked at ABC from 2010 till this past fall, 2018, and I oversaw brand and design there. And I had about 25 designers on my team. They were split. Most of them were overseeing and executing the on-air graphics and motion graphics and stuff like that, right? And then another team was really focusing more on the off-air, like print and outdoor and other side of the business. They were more creative services, and that was a little bit of a smaller team because we would outsource so much of that to creative agencies. But another of the big broadcast networks that I knew about that was just down the street from us was completely flipped. And they had a huge in-house team that was focusing more on print and developing key art and brand identity in-house, and they farmed out all of their on-air motion graphic related stuff. So it's really interesting, really interesting. But the reality is that working in-house, you are going to be part of a big, big, complex operational structure, and everybody has their role. So it's really true, there are no small parts. All right, so here's my next one. Let's do lunch. Let's do lunch. Have you ever heard that before? That's a nice Hollywood cliche, isn't it? Here's the problem, though, is I don't really do lunch. I eat lunch at my desk every day, but I've kind of done that my entire career. I'm guessing a lot of people in here eat at their desk every day. Look, it's a demanding business with some demanding hours. People generally, designers in this field, are usually putting in some pretty long hours. And it's a high stakes sort of environment, right? We're not saving lives, but the pressure is significant, right? So a lot of people do wind up eating at their desks. But at the same time, a lot of designers take the opportunity to do sort of meetings and networking on their lunch times, you know? A lot of people throughout the industry do, but even designers do it. And I've observed it a lot, especially with my team members. They see it as an opportunity to connect with some of their peers, right? And interact with people that are on other design teams that they work with, maybe within the greater organization, or other designers that are at other, almost competitor, different kinds of networks or studios or wherever. But also for people within the greater organization, that big complex structure of what a network or a studio is actually like. It's a great opportunity for team building. It's a great opportunity for trust building, and a good opportunity for networking in general. So actually, I know quite a few people that do lunch. Okay, have your people call my people. I'm sure you've all heard this said, right? And you know that this gets said in Hollywood, have your people call my people. Well, I'm choosing to talk about this one, a real pet peeve of mine, and that is the fact that over here, let's say, let me get my pointer out, see this? This is all the designers in the entertainment industry. And then over here, you have everybody else. See them all the way over there? And then between the two of them, there is this sort of wall for some crazy reason that I have not been able to figure out. And I came full-time into the entertainment industry in 2010, right? When I moved in-house. I had my own design firm before that, closed it down and went into an in-house setting and really focused on entertainment. And that's when, at the time that I did it, is when I really, really came to understand just what a substantial and significant, difference there was. They're very much insulated from one another. And it's hard to explain why. The people that work over here in the entertainment industry, especially the in-house people, right? They're generally part of a marketing team at whatever these big entities are that they work at, right? They're in the marketing department. And entertainment being such a big business that it is, entertainment marketing itself is just this massive, huge body of people. And most of the designers that work in this field kind of associate with them. I've been active with AIGA for a very long time, for decades. And even when I was on the leadership team of the local chapter here in Los Angeles, which was almost 20 years ago, we recognized this problem and knew about it then, and we still see it now. So this is a fight that I'm trying to, overcome. I really would love to see this change as much as possible, and I'm looking for help. So anybody out there who wants to jump in and be one of our generals, please do, because this is a wall that we need to break down. Have your people call my people. Actually, the entertainment people are my people, AIGA people are my people, so really you're both my people, but whatever. Anyway, I think you get the point. Okay, so my next phrase here is, it's an honor just to be nominated. It's an honor just to be nominated. Everybody knows what that means, right? Or how that would get used. It's basically a way of politely reminding you that we can't always win, right? That's fair. We can't always win. It's a nice way of saying that. And it's good to be recognized in any way, really. And I actually thought about how exactly to frame this and how to talk about it and speak to it in relation to the entertainment industry. The thing that I'm going to choose to talk about here, really, in regards to this, is just why it's so hard to find wins in this industry. One of the most sobering things that I learned when I came to a big television network was just how much failure there is in the business. And, I'm used to not always winning. You make a ton of comps, they don't pick the one you like, right? You work so hard on something, it just never gets used. And that happens in this business too. You work so hard, you kill yourself on a movie, and then the movie flops, right? You work really, really hard on a TV series that you love and that you believe in so much because it really is good, but not enough people watch it and it gets canceled. There's a lot of failure in this business. It's really kind of surprising, but they just keep on making things. They just keep on making new stuff. So that's to me, one of the most exciting things, the way that Scheherazade would point out that that's an opportunity, right, as opposed to a challenge. There's always new things to be able to keep working on. Let me speak for a second, though, to why I think it's so tough. And it's because of how crowded the space is. And I think that almost everybody in here is probably feeling that same kind of thing in their respective area, aren't you? I mean, it doesn't matter really what you do. I think that the world is just getting busier and busier and crazier and crazier. I mean, you could be making packaging for toothpaste, and you're probably saying to yourself, oh man, there's like so many people in the toothpaste space right now. This is getting out of control. That wouldn't surprise me. In the entertainment world, it's definitely happening. It's definitely happening too. So just to demonstrate and illustrate that for you, I started at ABC in 2010. At the time that I started there were 200 scripted shows on television, about 200 in America, okay? Now a scripted show, just so you understand the difference, is sort of scripted and unscripted. It's like fiction and nonfiction, right? So stories that are written that have a script, a comedy or a drama, that's a scripted show. About 200 of them in 2010. I left ABC last fall. At the time that I left, there was almost 500 scripted shows being made, which is crazy. That's like a factor of almost 2.5 times in 8 years. And this has happened in the world of entertainment before, especially in television, Certain things happen and it starts ticking up. Cable comes along and all of a sudden a lot more things are getting made, right? The internet comes along, a lot more things are getting made, right? You've now got streaming services and all of a sudden more things and more things and more things are getting made. So that's what's happening. As these technologies advance and these platforms emerge, there's new opportunities for people to make content and get it out there to you. So we know this is happening. There's this crazy explosion. And by the way, the scripted ones, there's actually way more unscripted things than there are scripted, right? So that means those are things like reality shows or game shows or specials or things that just don't have a script. There's way more of those. This year, there will probably be close to 1,500 things that get made that will be able to be aired in prime time, either on a network of some kind or on a streaming service in the US this year, about 1,500. That's crazy, right? That's crazy. And the film industry is similar too. There will be like 800 feature films probably that are made this year. You add the two of those together, that's like 2,300 pieces of entertainment. And this is not everything that's back in the catalog that you could go back and watch from time before now. These are things that are being made this year that you as a consumer are gonna have to try to choose from, right? And how do we package and market our products? Well, we do it with design, with artwork. So just think about this. Think about it in the scope of a movie poster, right? You know what 2,000 movie posters look like? It's pretty crazy. Here, this is a movie poster. And that's not a real movie, and it's not a real movie poster. I just had to make something that wasn't a piece of IP that I'm not allowed to show, so I just kind of made that. There's definitely more of a story behind this, though, and I'm not going to take the time to go into it right this second. But let's say, here's a TV show poster, right? So these two things, honestly, this morning I had blue boxes in here to represent these two things. This is what a movie poster might look like. This is what a TV show poster might look like. Well, here's what just 2,000 movie posters or TV show posters look like. Can you imagine that that's how many things are going to be out there and created originally just this year? It's kind of crazy to think that there's that many things in production. The space is very crowded. So for that reason, I like this quote here, "What's your elevator pitch?" Which I'm told is a phrase that actually originated in the entertainment industry, right? Because supposedly a writer would sort of take the opportunity to corner a studio executive while they're on an elevator, right, where they're trapped, and they have their undivided attention for like 30 to 60 seconds. Okay, and they have the opportunity to pitch their brilliant idea. Well, now, elevator pitch is a term that we all use. It's not foreign to anybody in this room. We all know what you're saying there with that. It's basically a nice and tight, abbreviated way. A lot of us speak about it when we're talking about brand identity, right, with our clients. But that's what an elevator pitch is, right? It's a really compact and well-organized, quick way of getting your message across. And that's what has to happen in this industry. And here's why. Going back to these two stellar pieces, I did these in about 20 minutes, by the way, before this session started. So here's I have a tiny bit of time. So a true story. 2 nights ago, it was really late. I was working on my slides. I realized I woke up and I had fallen asleep at my computer while I was working in Keynote, and there were 3 slides there that I did not remember creating. So I somehow sleep designed them. These 2 photos were actually, one of them was each of those 2 slides, and there was some weird, gibberish text. Anyway, the point here that I wanted to make, though, about brevity being key is that just look at all this messaging that has to happen. You have a title of a name of a show or a movie. You have like a tagline. It might be here. You have the name of actors or actresses, or that's called a pedigree line. You have a show creator up there. On movies, you got a building block, and you got a website. And over here, this is what's called tune in on a TV show. And you've got a logo, you've got co-branding that has to happen on almost every single project you're ever gonna work on. It gets really intense and very cluttered and crowded. So it's important to understand that really tight and small, short messaging is key. All right, you'll never work in this town again. This is one of my favorite phrases. We're gonna do a quick little true-false thing here. True or false? I have actually said this phrase to someone. True? No, it's not true. What do you guys think I am? That's false. Okay, but true or false? Somebody has actually said this statement to me. True. You guys clearly don't have a very good opinion of me. No, that's false too. All right, true or false? People who work in the entertainment industry and stop working at their job never work in this town again. That's false too, that's right. Because what happens is that most people stay in their jobs because they love them. And they have a great experience, or if for whatever reason they do leave because they're unhappy, or there was a shift in their company or whatever, and they wind up having to leave, they usually go to a competitor and wind up working in the same business, just at a different place. And if they're good at what they do, they don't stay unemployed for very long. All right, see this phrase here? That's a wrap. Anybody know what that means? It means I'm done. Thank you. And see, now we can ask questions.
So I come from a small town in the south of Arkansas, and I would love to move out here to California and start being a graphic designer in the show business. How would you suggest my first step be?
Step 1 is you got to get an agent. No, I'm just kidding. That's if you're saying you want to break into show business, you don't want to be an actress, right? You want to be a designer. The best thing to do is to get out here. You got to get your feet on the ground in the place where you want to be. You need to join AIGA if you're not already a member, and if you are, you need to jump in with this chapter and start meeting people and networking that way. I've told you that there's not enough connection between the entertainment industry and AIGA as much as I would like, at least, and we're all working at trying to change that. But what you should do is just get out here and start networking. Do some research, get some boots on the ground. And start looking at the normal range of places that designers would be looking for career opportunities out here. There's a lot. It's a big city, it's a big market. I think as far as AIGA chapters go, we're probably, fifth or sixth, fourth largest in the country. Yeah, so it's a big community. Lots of good opportunities.
Yeah. Do you find the way that clients give feedback or whatever within the entertainment industry is any different to other industries?
Yes. I mean, when I said it's a complex operational structure, that's not untrue. One of the interesting and sort of sobering realities of this business is that there are a lot of very, very powerful people and with very powerful egos. And one of the things that I've found, because like we were just talking about earlier, starting with Tim's presentation, that idea, and it was somebody even asked a question about it, how do you take all these stakeholders and try to just move them out so that they can just trust that we know what we're doing and let us do our jobs? There's a lot of people that have to weigh in on the work that you do as a designer, usually in this business. So I did find that to be a little bit different. I worked with a wide range of different kinds of clients before I jumped in with both feet into entertainment. Entertainment was maybe 20% of my business with my company before I went to ABC, which I loved, and I think they loved that about me, is that I had a pretty fresh perspective, and I got in there and tried to change the way a lot of things were done. When the time that I came to ABC, they'd never had really a high-level executive who was overseeing branded design. It was always done by committee by a bunch of people and really guided, and all the decisions being made from like the top down several levels by people who did not have any design background. And I think I got that gig because I just asked a few interesting questions. And one of the first ones is, well, why the hell is that? Why don't you have any, where are all the designers? I mean, I understand you've got them all sitting behind, computers and they're cranking stuff out every day. Where's the senior leadership as far as design goes? And they were like, well, but this is the way we've always done it. I said, okay, why do you do it this way? And they went, oh. So yeah, I mean, I think that trying to change old habits is a tough thing to do, and that industry has been doing things in a set way for a very, very long time. But you see, there's a lot of disruptors in that business and in that sector, and I've, just like all three of the speakers today, I think I've tried to be one of them. But yeah, very different. A lot of people that have to make decisions. I've always felt, from a design standpoint, I want immediate and direct access to the ultimate decision maker. Don't you? That to me is key. It's something that Paula Shearer said to me very early in my career. It was like a bunch of us were sitting and having dinner, and she made that comment, and like, you know what? It took me a long time before I realized that you're just kind of spinning wheels unless you really do have access to the ultimate decision maker or decision-making team or entity. And man, that was one of the best lessons that I got early on. I've always felt that same way, and so I've tried to do everything I can to help that. It's not possible for every person who's sitting here to be able to do that, right? But you want to have faith that you are working on as part of a chain, right? Where your ideas and what you're thinking and trying to motivate to happen is getting at least very quickly up through there. So it can be tough in entertainment, but I think that, again, if you're smart, you're good at what you do, and you're articulate, you can make it happen.
So I actually work in the entertainment industry.
Yes.
On the network side. I do agree that there is a disconnect between the AIGA and the entertainment industry. I do think that there's like a history of AIGA originally being more about graphic designers, less about, in studios. And I mean, I think that it's shifted a lot over the years. And I think that it's just more about, trying to be persistent and letting people know in these other industries that this AIGA is for you. So, and I do try and do my part. But the question I actually had was about being in design, in entertainment, but also working in-house. Mm-hmm. This industry right now is super volatile, especially on the network side, because the industry is just trying to figure out ways to make money because things are shifting so much. And like you said, there's opportunities to do so much work because there is a lot of work to do. But as an in-house team and being part of this volatility, there's massive layoffs happening all the time. And I'm just wondering, to kind of keep people's just like the culture of being in-house and seeing all this stuff happening, it does weigh on people, and it's just trying to figure out how can you keep your groups feeling energized and creative and happy to come to work when they know that there's all this other stuff going on around them?
That's an excellent question. So listen, twice during that 8-year run that I had at the Walt Disney Company, twice during that time did they have a sort of restructure or organizational change where they wound up laying off a large contingency of people. It's happening again right now with my peers who are still there because of this acquisition that Disney had with Fox, right? It's definitely affecting the media networks in a very big way. So I guess the short answer to that, which of course will still not be a short answer, it'll be fairly long, but I'll do my best. I'm a very positive person, and what I've tried to always advise my teams to do is stay focused on the work. Because at the end of the day, we wouldn't be there doing the work if we didn't love what we do. And I would, listen, I selfishly surround myself with people who are very good at it. And it does matter to me that they love what they do, by the way. That's how you are good at it in many respects. So I'm always keeping an eye out for people who just don't feel that they want to be there anyway. It's an important thing to know about your teams in general. What I think is really key is just helping people stay focused on the positives, right? And understand that things are going to work out the way that they work out and shift, no matter what the craziest shift is. God knows, I'm old enough now to have been through many, many life changes, and some of the biggest curveballs that have been thrown my way that I didn't even see coming and just scared the heck out of me when they hit me, wound up being tremendous opportunities that allowed me to pivot to something totally different and new, right? So I think the idea is just to try to keep people's minds open, that the changes generally are happening because there might very well be a smarter and better way of doing this. And I know that it scares everybody a lot. Well, but they're going to get rid of all of us. Well, maybe some of us might go. Yeah. But the people who are really exceptional, the wide majority are not. They're still going to need most people. Now, I've never had to give that pep talk and then have an entire department get annihilated, so hopefully that never happens with me anywhere. But for the most part, again, when you are really good at what you do and you love it, your worth to the company, or to any company, frankly, is unspeakably high, you know, and you need to just be able to take a deep breath and look inside and bank on that, and know that however things tend to shake out, it's going to work out and probably work out pretty well.